Iran didn't just fire missiles at America. It fired a video. AI-generated, IRGC produced, amplified by Russia and China, showing a missile destroying the Statue of Liberty, its head replaced with the face of a false god. Hundreds of thousands of views in hours. Every war has propaganda. Iran just reminded the West who invented it. Russia and China amplified an AI-generated Iranian propaganda video that depicts a missile destroying the Statue of Liberty, its head replaced with that of Baal, an ancient deity long associated with false worship and corruption. The video, titled One Vengeance for All, was produced by outlets tied to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and shared widely by state-aligned media in both Moscow and Beijing, racking up hundreds of thousands of views within hours. The AI-generated video opens as a history of American violence. Indigenous lands, the ruins of Hiroshima, smoke rising over Vietnam, and Yemen, a child in a Gaza refugee camp. Each scene shows its subjects looking upward. The sequence then cuts to Minab in southern Iran, where a schoolgirl stands quietly in a courtyard, a reference to a strike on a girls' school during the current conflict. General Qasem Soleimani appears, killed by a US drone strike in Baghdad in 2020. Then Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, shown watching a missile launch before his own death in the opening hours of the war on February 28th. The finale is the missile itself, filmed from its own point of view as it travels through clouds and strikes the altered statue, shattering it on impact. The choice of Baal was not incidental. In biblical tradition, Baal was the supreme god of ancient Canaan, a figure the Hebrew scriptures consistently portrayed as the embodiment of false power and idolatry, the rival deity Israel was repeatedly warned against. In modern usage, the name has become shorthand across religious and conspiratorial circles for corrupt authority. Iran had previously burned a Baal-like statue during anniversary events tied to the 1979 Islamic Revolution, footage of which circulated widely at the time. The video also passed through Epstein Island, showing a young girl near the private island of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, tying American political elites to the broader narrative of moral corruption around which the video was constructed.
Every war has propaganda. This is probably the first one after AI evolution has taken video production to an absolute other level. Iran has really upped their game.
Some users were curious as to which platform Iran was using to create such videos.
I want to know what AI Iran is using and why they are so good at this.
The New York Post called the video insane. The Americans and Israelis would most likely call it propaganda, but one thing is clear: Iran is winning at the very game the West invented many wars ago: information warfare. A viral video showing thousands of crows flying in formation over Tel Aviv has triggered widespread speculation online, with some calling it a natural phenomenon and others labeling it a sign of doomsday. The footage, which darkens the skyline over densely populated areas, has rapidly circulated across social media platforms. However, there is no confirmed timeline for when the video was recorded, raising questions about its authenticity and context. The speculation intensified after users drew comparisons to a similar incident in Kyiv in 2023, where large flocks of birds were seen shortly before heavy bombardment during the Russia-Ukraine war. Online narratives quickly escalated. Many social media users commented that this is a bad sign. Some users associated it with the depictions of war and destruction in the Bible, while experts noted that the situation could be natural. Experts, however, reject these interpretations, pointing instead to well-established scientific explanations. Environmental specialists note that in conflict zones, repeated sirens and explosions can disturb bird populations, forcing them into dense, erratic flight patterns. At the same time, seasonal migration and ecological factors frequently lead to large flock formations, particularly in coastal urban regions like Tel Aviv. Analysts also warn of a growing pattern of misinformation, where older footage is recirculated during periods of heightened tension. Reports indicate that similar videos from late 2024 showing large bird flocks over Tel Aviv had previously gone viral, suggesting the current clip may not be recent. Religious interpretations have further amplified the narrative. In Jewish tradition, ravens or orev carry mixed symbolism associated with impurity and ill omens, but also divine provision. Biblical references, including the story of Noah releasing a raven and passages in Leviticus, reflect this duality. In Middle Eastern cultures, particularly in Islamic traditions and Arabic folklore, crows symbolize betrayal, foolishness, and ill omens rather than direct predictors of death, though their cries near homes can signal misfortune. In Persian and Bedouin lore, crows link to separation or bad luck due to scavenging, with large groups or cries viewed negatively, but not explicitly as death harbingers. However, scholars note there is no doctrinal basis linking mass bird gatherings to imminent catastrophe. Ultimately, experts maintain that the phenomenon is consistent with natural bird behavior, not a precursor to disaster. In a region already on edge, viral imagery can quickly blur the line between perception and reality. But in this case, what appears ominous in the sky may simply be a reminder of how easily fear-not facts can take flight. A stark warning from Tehran is raising tensions across the Gulf. As the war deepens, an Iranian analyst is now openly discussing the possibility of seizing key coastlines in the region, signaling just how far this conflict could expand. Speaking to Iran's national broadcaster IRIB, analyst Morteza Simiari said the country's military is ready to take action if the United States makes what he described as any mistake in the region.
Iran's military is ready to take action if the US makes any mistake in the region. Iran's armed forces are prepared to seize Emirati and Bahraini coasts and fundamentally alter the regional landscape. Entering the coasts of the UAE and Bahrain is on the agenda.
The remarks come days after comments by the UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed denouncing Iranian attacks on the country and stating that it will never be blackmailed by terrorists. His comments were made in response to a wider debate over the UAE's growing cooperation with the United States. Presidential advisor Anwar Gargash had earlier highlighted what he described as blatant Iranian aggression against Gulf states, arguing that it has reshaped regional security priorities. Gargash said the evolving threat has made Iran a central concern in Gulf strategic thinking, prompting the UAE to strengthen its security partnerships with Washington. However, this position has drawn criticism from some international observers. Former French ambassador to the United States, Gérard Araud, questioned whether deeper alignment with Washington could entangle Gulf states further in a conflict not of their making. Despite initial efforts by Saudi Arabia and the UAE to dissuade the United States from launching strikes on Iran, recent developments suggest a shift in stance. Both countries are now seen as moving closer to supporting the ongoing military campaign. In recent weeks, Iran has targeted US military bases as well as oil and gas infrastructure across neighboring Gulf countries. The United Arab Emirates has reported intercepting hundreds of incoming threats, including 338 ballistic missiles and 1,740 drones since the start of the conflict. The latest warning from Tehran follows strong condemnation from the UAE. Saudi Arabia is reportedly preparing to grant the United States access to King Fahd Air Base in Taif, while the UAE has indicated it is ready for a prolonged conflict. In a phone call earlier this month, the Emirati Foreign Minister told his counterpart, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that the UAE is prepared for the war to last up to 9 months. The increasingly assertive rhetoric from Iran, combined with shifting regional alliances, reflects a broader escalation in the conflict. What began as targeted military operations has now expanded into a wider confrontation involving multiple states and strategic interests. Trump called it putting them out of business. Iran has a different word for what comes next: